Hi, hello, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about all the books that I read in February, which wasn't too many. I just have 4 books. I don't know, took me a little while to get through, but I have new favorite on this list, like all-time favorite. I am so excited to talk about it. I have a couple great ones. I have one that is kind of surprised me, not gonna lie, but it was a weird journey with that one. Stay tuned to see which one it is. And this is all the books I read in February. Let's start from the bottom. The worst book. I'm not saying it's bad, but like of the ones I read, the lowest rating that got was surprisingly the romantasy, my favorite genre. Honestly, I have been having a hard time with that genre lately though, but with everything that's being put out there nowadays, it's just not that good. Mostly disappointments. You'll get a decent one here and there, and very rarely something you really love. This one was kind of both. I don't know. I gave it 3.5 stars, and it is A Vow in Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez. It is a new debut release. It came out here in January. I got the arc for that book, and I just finished it in February. I am planning on doing the full review video for this book because I just have so many thoughts about it, which is kind of good and bad, I guess, because I had like all kinds of thoughts about it. I almost DNF'd it, but it is not like super long and pretty readable, so I decided, like, since it's an arc, I might as well just finish it and give you like all my opinions. So yeah, stay tuned. The video will be coming sometime soon with a full spoiler-free and spoiler review. I am planning to do like a detailed video on it. It is a romantasy. As I said, it's a new debut book that just came out. It was like, it's surprising because it was very anticipated quite a bit. Like, I've seen it quite everywhere, and I was very excited about it. The premise was very interesting. We have like a revenge plot line. Enemies to lovers, as always, not really enemies. It is marketed as that way, but it's not. If anything, maybe rivals, but again, it's a stretch. We have Rune, who has lost her entire family, basically, and now she is on the path of revenge, but like, she doesn't know if they're dead, if they're alive, and she's also like will be trying to find her family, her brother and her parents. So in this world, we have human world, and we have the world of the immortals, and there's like 4 kinds of immortals, like seraphs, druids, elves. Was it 4? Was it 3? Something like that. I'll have to double check. The point is that after some war or revolution or whatever, that wasn't actually that long ago, like maybe 20 years ago or so, now every year there is a selection, and one group of immortals, like every year it's like a different group, comes to the human realm to select 100 people at random, or whatever their selection process is, and they take them back to their realm, to their lands. Nobody ever comes back, so nobody knows like what happens to them. They all assume they're all dead. And this year, Rune has decided that she is going to be selected, and she does like everything for it. And obviously she does, otherwise we wouldn't have a book. But I'm not gonna spoil it anymore. It was a roller coaster with this book. I did not think I was gonna even give it like 3 stars, let alone 3.5 stars. It started out very nice. Prologue was well written, intriguing, like it gets you into it, and you're like, oh yes, I want to read that. And then just chapter 1 happens, and it's like a totally different book. And it's like, what the hell is this? It's corny, it's like cringe internal monologue, a lot of like unnecessary, like super unnecessary exposition to give us like all the background on her. I'm like, we could have discovered it organically throughout the book. Like, we don't need all that info dump right now. Just keep some mystery. I don't know. Then it started getting like super choppy, insta-lovey. It feels like the author was like trying to cram as much of the syllable things in there, but it wasn't even like, I don't mind tropes when it's done well and when it's done like more or less original and true to the world, and when it makes sense and like needed more or less. But this one felt like we just throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks. I would have loved a little bit more world building. I kid you not, at one point there was a scene that was like straight up of the Akatar books, specifically the second book, The Mist and Fury, Feyre and the Shoe. If you know, you know. I don't want to spoiler the Akatar books for you, but like, oh my god, the scene was like, it was a more cringe version of it, I guess. I don't know, but I laughed so hard, and I think this is where I decided that I'm not gonna DNF it, just for the sole purpose so I can dissect it later on and just have fun with that. But then like it's like around maybe halfway point, I found myself enjoying it, because suddenly the writing was better, the dialogue was better, the things started to like make sense more, and it just felt like it stopped trying too hard and kind of started finding its own identity. And that's when it started becoming kind of good, you know, and the romance kind of cute and fun, and the dialogue gotten very much better, and we got into nitty gritty of like actual relationship building. I wouldn't say like it got like it started being perfect, but like it still had some issues, but suddenly like it was like, okay, this is like not a bad first book for the like new series, but it debuted after, like you can tell, and like it's got like characters started having chemistry and all that kind of stuff. However, it was not enough to make up for the first half of the book because that was that bad. And so I settled on the 3.5 stars. I do want to read the second book though and like continue the series, which is like that is like the biggest surprise, because when I started I was like for sure I was gonna DNF it, because I was cringing so hard, and it was like so tropey and like so just borrowing stuff from all the other books that we already seen a million times, but better. I mean, those other times were better, this one was not good. Anyways, the magic system is based on like tarot cards, so I thought that was pretty cool, but still needed some more developing. There's some dark academia kind of aspect to it, some political intrigues. The plot, I don't know, I like the plot, but as I said, like the first half of the book was really bad, the second half was kind of good. And just like some things came super easily, but I don't want to spoil it again. If you read this book, you want to know my thoughts, stay tuned and check out my full review coming to you soon, hopefully. I am planning to shoot it tomorrow, maybe. So maybe like in a few days, fingers crossed. Because I know myself, it might take me a while to edit and stuff, but hopefully by the end of the month I will post it. That's all I'm gonna say about that book. 3.5 stars. I did end up enjoying it by the end, and I do want to continue the series. Hopefully the second book will continue improvement, and maybe we'll get it to the 4 stars this time. Kind of doubt it, but we'll see. So my mic died as always, so I'm just gonna continue without it because it's gonna take a long time to charge. Also this month I had 2 4-star books. First one is Half His Age, the new release from Janet McCurdy. So this is her debut in fiction, so the only other book she wrote was her own memoir, which I've heard very positive review, like very interesting reviews about, and I do have an audiobook for that one. I just haven't read it yet, like listened to. It is narrated by Jeanette herself, so that should be cool. I like those kind of memoirs. It's called I'm Glad My Mom Died. Like this one made me kind of excited to go read her first one as well. So this book was pretty controversial from the get-go. When it was announced, everybody's like right away jumped to the conclusions that it's going to be unnecessarily proactive, glamorizing grooming and pedophilia and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, like, why? People like haven't even read the book yet, just because the title and like the, I guess the cover, but like of course the cover will be somewhat provocative because of the topic discussed in the book. And like it's a fairly small book. I did hear that like Jeanette took like a lot of her like own experience with the age gap relationships to put in this book, where she was quite young as well. So I think that really helped. Like I don't think this was any bad representation for those kinds of relationships or grooming or like whatever, even though like the specifically grooming, I don't think like it's not really discussed in that manner in this book. It is written from the POV of the 17-year-old high school girl who is like from the like very poor single mom background. I think probably like the mother-daughter dynamic, problematic mothers and all the kind of stuff, and the children who had to like basically raise themselves. I thought that was kind of the best part of the book, which also played into the tendencies of this young girl in her love life. So I thought it was pretty like interesting exploration of those topics. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was pretty good. I loved her writing. It's like bold and to the point, very kind of dry and poignant. That was like my favorite thing. It wasn't sugarcoating. It was it wasn't flowery in any way. Definitely not romanticizing anything. It was very uncomfortable to read. It's supposed to be uncomfortable to read. That's the whole point. I think there was just only one scene that went, in my opinion, a bit too far and kind of went more for the shock value rather than saying something with it. But again, she was drawing from like her own experiences, even though like it's fictionalized, and that's not to say that's like everything that's in the book happened to her word per word or like action per action, but I ate it up. It's not enjoyable read in the sense of like I don't know, fun or whatever. It is getting uncomfortable in a lot of scenes, but it also kind of explores these different dynamics and coming of age and coming to terms with like your own sexuality, growing up and becoming an adult. But also at the same time, you're still a child, and it's awkward and it's cringeworthy, and it's like not like she doesn't know what she's doing basically sometimes, but she feels like she is an adult. It is the main plot in this book is the relationship of this 17-year-old girl with her English teacher, who's like in his 40s. And I actually loved how she herself like described this weird crush that she developed on him, because usually if like this kind of stories that told from the POV of the girl that had like a crush on the teacher or whatever, it is very romanticized. It is very kind of like the person is like glorified, like, oh, he's so handsome and all that stuff, like that, and he like understands me, and or things like that, right? Like what surprised me in this book, and I liked it very much, is that it was very not romanticized towards how she sees him, because she herself always kind of describes him, or like, I don't know, like I know he's like older and he has this belly, and he's not the most handsome guy in the world, and I even like want his gross parts though, but and like all that kind of stuff. Like again, as I said, very bold, very poignant, and like to the point kind of a writing style. Also like just underlines all those points really in like quite uncomfortable. So the next 4 stars book that I have read would be the Stephen King's Carrie. As you know, I have been going through his bibliography and just kind of trying to start reading it more or less in order, because like a lot of them kind of interconnected or have like Easter eggs and callbacks to like other books. So I finally got myself a copy of Carrie. This is like his first published book, not the first written, but the first published one. It kind of starts off his universe of like the gifted children books. I gave this book 4 stars. It has like interesting structure. I was not expecting that. We have like Carrie's POV, we have some other students' POVs, we have like kind of found footage style narrative as well. So I could have used some chapters in this because the way it is like styled, there is like no chapters or anything. There's just like sections, little sections, but like there's no chapters. There's like 3 parts, big parts, and that's it. I would love a little bit more organized structure to it, but it's fine. It reads easily. So there's like some sections with like afterwards articles and stuff that kind of research in this phenomena of like what happened at the end. I didn't know like a lot about this book going in, since like it's very classic, like everybody knows the story, like what happens in this book. Carrie is just this kid that's bullied in the school, and she kind of has this telekinesis sort of thing. And at prom, is being kind of like pranked cruelly, like again, because she's been like pranked and all stuff like her whole life. Again, as I said, she was a very bullied kid. And she got like some blood dumped on her after she was chosen as the prom queen, and that kind of sets her off, and she kills a bunch of people. Yeah, that's the ending of the story. Sorry, spoiler alert. Never mind the spoilers. I did want to read the book, and I have seen like one movie, I think, a long time ago with Chloe Grace Moretz, the newer one. There was another one that was like in the 70s. I didn't watch that one, but I did see the newer one. In this one, there's like a lot of exploration of like the religion taken to extreme, and the dysfunctional relationship of Carrie and her mother, abusive relationship. A lot of exploration on like bullying culture and all that stuff. However, okay, I still cannot get past the one scene in the shower, because on one hand, like, kudos for trying to cover that kind of topic, and I mean like periods and like female experience and adolescence and coming of age. If you guys read this book before, can you leave me in the comments like if you felt the same way I felt about it? But that one scene at the beginning in the shower when she gets her first period, and then the girls starting like kind of bullying her because she didn't understand what was happening to her. She didn't even know like what periods was. So she was like very scared and like thinking she's like dying and bleeding out. But I'm not talking about that right now. But they're starting to throw like period products at her, like pads and tampons. And there's like this one sentence. Let me see if I can find it, because it made me like, what the fuck? I don't think that's how it would work, honestly. Not honestly, but like I cannot imagine how is that gonna work unless tampons were made out of velcro or something in the 70s. If anybody lived back then and was like adult enough to, get a period, like you tell me in the comments like what was it made of in that time, because let me see if I can find it. Like, oh my gosh, I should have like dog-eared it or something. Okay, I have found that line. And I quote, "She backed away, howling in the new silence, fat forearms crossing her face, a tampon stuck in the middle of her pubic hair." Can somebody explain me how that freaking works? If I throw a tampon at you and it kind of falls onto your pubic hair, how does it get stuck in there exactly? Like, unless you have I don't know, some bush with thorns and stuff, or the tampon is made of velcro, I don't think that's gonna happen. So that was weird, and I was laughing at that for like a long time. I think other than that, I just think should have gone a little bit more research into it, since you are picking such topic to write about. It's like men writing women again, right? There's couple weird moments. If you like ever read Stephen King's like older stuff, you would know like his obsession with describing women starting with their chest area. Sometimes kind of called for, but like most of the time totally unnecessary and from like a weird POV. It's like the, what do you call it, the Long Walk. When I was reading at the start, when he introduced the mother character, started describing her with like a flat chested and whatever, and we were reading like, it's not in the first person, but it is from the POV of the son, who's like 16 or something, and that was just weird. Like, why are we describing her like that when we are reading from the POV of the son? It's very weird. But anyways, I think he's gotten better with that later on. Like, I don't notice it that much anymore, but his older works, yeah, I don't mind some scenes in here, but then another scene was like with another like 16-year-old girl, and again we're talking about her breasts. I'm like, why? Like, totally unnecessary. Like, I do understand like one of the scenes where he kind of does that, but that, at least that like tied intimately into her understanding of like herself, her own body, her changes, and the way she was brought up, and kind of, that it was kind of like defiance moment for her and growth in character. So like I do like I did like that scene. That was very like that felt like it served the purpose, but a couple of them did not, and yeah, made me feel a little uncomfortable. But anyways, still 4 stars, very solid book. I did enjoy reading it. I think deserves a little better credit than most people give it, because everybody's like, oh, Carrie is not that good. Actually pretty good, and I think for the time that it was published, I can see how it's been kind of boundaries breaking, I guess, kind of a thing. Anyhow, and hands down best book of the month. Probably one of the best books I've read ever, and that's coming from me, the person who does not read romance usually, but ever since I've gotten into Emily Henry's books, I find myself more interested in the genre. There's this little misconception that she writes like rom-coms, but she's not. She usually writes literally fiction romance. That is a little bit funny sometimes, but it's not really like a rom-com. I don't know, it took me like so long to get to this book. I don't know why I kept putting it off, because I guess I was anticipating that it's gonna be good, and I didn't have anything after that to read from her, and I knew it was gonna put me in a reading slump. This one is definitely gonna be my best book, like one of the best books of all time. I was actually surprised by how much I loved it, and that is a Funny Story by Emily Henry. So this is probably her sexiest and funniest book to date, and I have not related so much to the main character probably ever. Like, Daphne is literally me, minus, I want to say daddy issues, but it's not really daddy issues. It's just like strained relationship with her father. I don't even have the words to kind of explain how much I loved it. It is definitely in the running for the best book of the year already. And I know there's Akatar coming out in October, so it's probably gonna be this one and that one. But we have Daphne and Miles, who are just got dumped by their significant others. Daphne was engaged to Peter, and right before their wedding, Peter kind of dumps her to get with his female best friend into relationship that he always told her she don't need to like worry about it. They're just friends. But oh, of course not. Anyways, and Miles is the sad best friend's boyfriend of 3 years who also gets dumped. And through the circumstances, they end up moving in together. So she ends up moving into his apartment because she had like nowhere to go, and he offered. And they started being roommates. She's a librarian, and he is a bartender, I guess, mostly, with some other gigs and whatever. Obviously, it's a romance, so we are following their journey from like friendship to. This is probably like the only friends to lovers romance that I have ever liked, because usually it's not my thing, but damn it, if you're gonna do it, this is the way to do it, okay? Because this was there's like some fake dating trope as well, that's utilized pretty well. I'm honestly speechless. I just loved it. You have to read it. So previously Betrayed was my favorite book from her, and now it's like up there with Funny Story, and I still can't decide which one I like more, and probably Funny Story. I probably like this one better. I don't know. This is probably my favorite book of hers now. It's very funny. This is probably like the rom-commiest book she has ever written, even though she doesn't really write rom-coms specifically. This felt like funny. Also, probably like the sexiest in terms of like explicit scenes, because like she does have like sex in her books, but it's always been kind of like super toned down and like super mild kind of a thing. And this one I was surprised for how much more explicit it was, but it was also very tasteful and like not cringy at all, and it was very realistic as well. it just kind of like was more than you usually expect in her book, and I liked it. I don't know, it was so fun as a lot of other interesting characters, and Miles is like genuinely this good guy that you don't really see much in the books, like super unproblematic. Like if anything, too good maybe. Honestly, 5 stars. If I could give it 10, I would. Best book of the month, probably best book of the year. Just love it so much. Highly, highly recommend. Probably her best work to date. So that is all the books I have for you today. I know not too much, but it was kind of a slow month for me. Hopefully the March will be a little bit better, although I doubt it the way it started. But anyways, thanks guys for watching. I will see you in my next video. Please subscribe, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. I will really appreciate it. It would really help with the algorithm to put my videos out there. Love you. Bye. We'll see you in the next video.